Hello there and welcome to the Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. I'm your host, Vidas Pinkevičius. Welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast number 107. Today is Sunday, August 13, 2017. And today's guest is pianist and organist Kae Matsuda from Seattle, Washington. She began piano lessons at age 9, and in junior high school she accompanied her youth group's weekly hymn sing, and at 13 began her ongoing involvement in church music. She is a performer at heart, and church music offered a challenging but forgiving way to develop this skill. So throughout her years at Covenant High School in Tacoma, she accompanied weekly chapel and school choir concerts. The prodding of her piano teachers at the time, Paul Twedt and later Chris Rogers, she also competed and placed as a soloist in local MTNA competitions. In 2013, she began attending Seattle Pacific University, where she collaborated with SPU choir and solo vocal performances and recorded several student-led ensembles while continuing private lessons with Dr. Wayne Johnson. He retired in 2014, and Kae joined the studio of Dr. Dainius Vaičekonis. By the way, Dainius Vaičekonis is the son of Petras Vaičekonis. Aušra and I studied choir conducting at Lithuanian Academy of Music and Theatre many years ago with his dad, Petras Vaičekonis. And I just found out this connection today. It's wonderful, although we are hours apart and thousands of miles across the globe. But here is the small world, right? This connection. So Kae lives in Lake City, Seattle, and teach in home lessons, and she is currently employed as pianist and organist at Holler Lake United Methodist Church, and seasonally accompanies the Norwegian Ladies Choir of Seattle. And also he has been occasionally teaching elementary piano students since 2012. Kae graduated from SPU in June 2017, and one of just 2 students with a Bachelor of Arts in Piano Performance. Kae is very excited to announce that she is now reopening her studio full-time. So today in this conversation, Kae shares her 3 challenges, and we're talking about how to overcome this. Splitting between the hands and feet, basically the coordination between the hands and feet. And the second challenge is just getting on the organ bench and starting practicing. This is the second most important challenge she has to overcome. And the third challenge, no small challenge at all, to overcome this challenge by not getting too stuck in week-to-week preparations for church work and start dreaming big, start having this vision of 5 years from now, 10 years from now, even longer. So Kae shares this all very generously with you, and I hope you will feel very much inspired and want to say hello afterwards. So now let's go to the conversation and let's find out about Kae Matsuda. Thank you so much, Kae, for joining in this conversation. We are so very far apart. You are in Seattle, and I'm in Lithuania. We are almost like 10 hours apart or more, maybe 12, and you're late at night, probably tired after the university, right? And I'm just starting my day, but it's so fascinating to connect with people around the world and to be able to share their experiences about organ playing, about practicing, what kind of challenges you have on your way to reaching your goals, what are your plans and dreams. All those things are very, very fascinating. Thank you so much, Kae, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's amazing to be able to talk to someone in Vilnius, right? And it's a real privilege to be on your show.
Let me close the window because it's a little bit noisy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're good. And by the way, if you say something you didn't tell, just tell me and I will cut and erase it. I will edit.
Okay.
So Kae, let's start from the beginning. Do you remember the time when somebody introduced you to the organ? Could you share this story from your maybe early days? How you first fell in love with the organ?
Yeah. That's a funny question because I don't really think of it as like a moment of love at first sight or first sound, as the case may be. For me, it was more of a growth and getting to know the organ better. It was more like a love comedy movie where the two characters start out hating each other first and then they grow together by working together somehow.
Mm. And how old were you when you first basically tried out the organ and heard the organ sound?
I grew up in a church that had an organ since I was 7 years old, and I don't remember the first time I tried it, but the first time I took lessons, I was 16.
Mm-hmm. 16. That's a good age to start organ. Did you have piano playing experience at that time too?
Yes, actually, it was my organ lessons were kind of how I spent the scholarship that I won in a piano competition, and the guy who was kind of overseeing and putting together the competition was also the organist at our church, and he offered to give me some lessons for the scholarship that I won in that competition.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, because piano experience really plays a big role in organist life, right? Your finger dexterity, finger independence, all those things will serve you well if you have a good piano background, especially if you want to, play later romantic and modern music.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So Kae, do you remember what was the first instrument that you played, the first organ?
It was I have the details here. 1 second. It's in it's a 1998 installation of a 3-manual Rogers 950 with enhanced antiphonal division installed in 2015, and it has the equivalent of over 70 ranks of pipes. And I emailed him and I asked him some details about the organ. I knew you would ask me that.
I see.
So it's as far as electric organs go, it's fairly nice. And
what was the first piece that you played on the instrument? Do you remember the first sound?
Well, the first real music that I made with the organ was the Little Prelude in C major.
BWV 553, right?
That sounds right, yeah. So,
yeah, wonderful. It was fairly recently discovered that it's not composed by Johann Sebastian Bach, but maybe by his student.
Really?
Maybe Johann Ludwig Krebs. But earlier it was thought it was by Bach, and therefore it's included in Bach's catalog of works.
Wow, that's so interesting.
But, we consider it the Bach school. Johann Sebastian Bach might have written very, very similarly, right?
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why we confused it. Wonderful. Was it easy for you to learn this piece, or something was challenging, especially the fugue, I would predict, right?
Yeah, the fugues are always difficult because you don't just read it up and down. You have to read horizontally because the voices go parallel to each other. That was a big challenge, was getting the technical stuff with, both hands and then feet, adding pedals. But also, I think, speaking of technique, as a pianist, I wanted to always, pound more volume into the keys, and of course that doesn't do anything on the organ. You have to, it's different mechanism than piano, so. Mm-hmm. I still find that challenging, is to, hold back some of the energy, because it's totally wasted on the organ, because pressing the keys harder doesn't necessarily do anything.
Exactly. That's a big challenge, to transfer from piano to organ, and really to forget this piano touch, because piano can make dynamics, right?
Yeah.
Use keyboard keys harder and with more force, but it's not so with the organ. Mechanical organ can really make the sound more articulated and maybe more flexible, with opening the windchest gently. You can control this. You can do this, but very, very slightly. It's not that very, very noticeable thing. But on the piano, yes, you can make dynamics. And a lot of pianists really forget this, that it's a different type of instrument, and play this way for a long time.
Yeah.
So, Kae, when have you started playing like an organist? Do you remember the time where you switched from pianistic sounds and going to the organistic touch?
I'm not sure I've quite mastered the organist touch yet, but there was kind of a switch that happened when I stopped doing organ as trying to get everything right and technical and perfect, and just suddenly it was in a place where I had to just do it, and the sound had to happen somehow. And I just kind of put that aside in my head, doing it perfectly, and this idea that everything has to be with correct technique. And I realized that, I can work with that and it will follow. But the main thing is to not be afraid. And that happened because I was, I got a church job temporarily as an organist, and they didn't have a piano. They didn't have a cantor either. So I was singing and playing organ at the same time, and it was way out of my comfort zone. But because of that sudden, unfamiliar environment where I had to just do something, it was a good, it was a good turning point, kind of moment.
Wonderful, because when you switch, when you really can control the organ touch the way it's supposed to be, then you can do all kinds of things like a real organist, right?
Yeah.
That's a very fascinating point in your organ playing career. I think we all remember this switch. By the way, when you said you were practicing C major Prelude and Fugue at first, it's not the easiest piece to start in this collection. Usually people start not from C major, let's say, but with G minor.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you start with C major, by the way?
It was what my teacher assigned.
All right. And who was your teacher at the time?
Ronald J. Bechtel, and he was he's still the organist at Faith Presbyterian Church where I was growing up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, yeah. Did you play any other pieces from this collection besides C major later on?
No, I didn't. I would like to play more Bach, but it's still a challenge because I'm still a pianist, and so I'm still, trying to divide my practice time. And most of my repertoire gets selected because of church. And I do want to keep putting organ music in the church, and the church would like me to keep putting organ music in the service. So I'm not going to stop, but it's harder, I think, now because I think it's, I don't know, because just finding the balance between piano and organ.
So what kind of mentors have you had in your organ playing career besides your first teacher? Maybe you could name them too.
I think when I mentioned that I had when I realized I had to give up being afraid of doing it wrong and just go for it, that thought or that attitude, I guess, came to me because I was watching my piano teacher play the organ in another church, and he was just going for it. And he's an incredible pianist, and he looked like a pianist playing the organ. But it was really, I don't know, it was really freeing to see that that it didn't have to be perfect technique with it didn't have to be perfect organ technique as all my organ teachers were teaching me, even though it's a good standard. Sometimes you just have to let go and just go for the music and make sure that the music happens.
What's your favorite organ music style right now? And has it changed from the beginning? Maybe you have some switch in your taste?
I don't know. I don't know that I'm not sure I know enough yet to have a taste. I enjoy listening to a lot of different things, but I think Bach is always my favorite. Yeah, I just love Bach.
Yeah, it's good enough for starters, right?
Yeah.
To play Bach and to be fascinated by his mastery and his art. Then we can expand our taste and musical horizons into other styles. Because let's face it, Bach also was influenced by many other composers and organists before him. So he knew practically everything from every culture, like Italian, French, maybe North German, right? And he knew them all, although he didn't travel much in his day, but he played and copied manuscripts. So we have a different situation now, but we can also learn from those early masters today.
Yeah, for sure.
So Kae, what's your what are some pieces that you're practicing right now?
Mostly just for church. I pick some collections that I have of like church music that's really almost sight readable, and just kind of working that out week by week. I just go from week to week because I'm not at a very high level.
Excellent. That's very good. It's a very good starting point to have this understanding of your current situation, what you can do, what you cannot do during 1 week, right?
Yeah.
Some people, can really sight read only the hymns. They don't pick the preludes and postludes. They don't improvise. They don't play any organ music during the church service because they just, there is not enough time and not enough skill right now.
Yeah.
But for you, it seems like you could play hymns, right, and play some organ music. And that's where you start. Maybe later on you could advance a little bit more and take on some more challenging music, and even play some public performances in your church, right? Like a small concert afterwards, after the service. That would be fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that, but yeah.
So, Kae mentioned, what is the name of your church?
I don't know. The one that I work for is called Haller Lake or United Methodist Church. I'm not sure if it's Haller or Holler. They say it differently. But yeah, Haller Lake United Methodist Church is where I'm the pianist and organist. And then I like to visit Ronald United Methodist, which is not far away, and it's where my teacher is the pianist and organist.
Mhm.
So yeah, I really have two, I guess.
And now, what are your responsibilities as an organist in this first church? What do you have to do every week there?
I just have to prepare prelude, offertory, and postlude, and also make sure that other things happen. Sometimes there's special music that has where someone has a solo that they want me to accompany. That's happening a lot this summer, because in the summer we have a lot more special music. And then I have to, be ready to accompany all of the singing.
What about hymns? Do you also have to play hymns?
Yes, hymns, and some worship songs. Usually about 3 per Sunday, and then maybe 4 or 5 hymns.
How far in advance do you know the service music for this current week?
Usually around Wednesday morning they send out. Wednesday mornings they usually send out the bulletin or the order of service.
So, Kae, you have to play some hymns during the week, right? You have to prepare some service music like prelude, offertory, and postlude, and some worship music, right? And sometimes they ask you to accompany the songs that vocalist would sing, right?
Yeah.
Do you also play for weddings and funerals?
Sometimes. My sister got married a couple weeks ago, and I played in her wedding. And I'm going to play in a wedding at the end of this month. That's always really fun. I've played in a few funerals too. So yeah, all kinds of events where they just want a pianist.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wonderful. So how much time do you have to usually prepare for church service every week?
I guess it depends on how much I plan ahead. Usually a week is enough, but I think I could do better. And sometimes I have learned a new piece that took much longer, and then presented it, and that's, I don't know, it feels like, I don't know, it's more rewarding, I think, because you spend more time on it, of course, but then at the same time, you only get to present it one time.
Mm-hmm. So, do you practice every day for this upcoming week, let's say, to play those pieces and practice and get it done?
I try to, yes. I've been more recently, I was practicing maybe every other day because my hands would get really tired, because I was really trying to prepare pieces, really impressive solo pieces on piano for a concert that I was in last Tuesday. So that was a little bit less focus went into my church music preparation.
What did you play? What did you play for the concert?
2 Beethoven sonatas and Chopin's second ballade.
Mm-hmm. So that's a stress for your hands, right? Especially the final movements of the Beethoven.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. But really it helps for your organ playing technique too later on.
I think it really does, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I recommend then taking frequent breaks, really, and maybe practicing for 25 minutes and then stopping and doing something else for 5 minutes, relaxing. That's what they call Pomodoro technique, right? They have this Pomodoro tomato-shaped timer. You set the timer. It's like a kitchen timer, right? And you set this timer for 25 minutes and it beeps. You stop playing. Then it beeps again after 5 minutes to remind you of start playing again. And during this break, you can relax, drink, take a walk, stretch, do something different to relax your mind, and then you can practice for another block of 25 minutes or even 3 more blocks, because if you make frequent breaks, you never get tired.
Yeah, the hard thing with that is wanting to stop it, because I get going and then I don't want to stop, and
I know. This music is so immersive, and you just can't force yourself to stop because you want to keep going because the music is so beautiful, and you don't really feel tired at this moment. But you have to be strict with yourself a little bit because it's not performance; it's practice. It's different.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know. It's like anywhere in front of a keyboard is home for me, and I don't want to leave.
So, Kae, what is the three most challenging things for you right now in organ playing?
I guess practically, also, hands plus pedals is always a bit of a challenge. Splitting your brain in a different way than pianists have to. But I guess practically speaking, it's, I guess, just getting started. Just starting to practice. And of course, once I start, it's always like, oh, I could do this forever, and I love it. But getting started is like the hardest part. Especially as a pianist, I have another instrument, and so I have, divided loyalty. And it's hard to just get started. But once I do, I really do love the organ, and I don't want to stop. But
So, and what's the third one?
I guess I would say maybe one or two more. Maybe I think not getting so stuck in week to week preparations, but realizing that I can still dream of this could be more of how I could be doing more. And
so dreaming big
kind of takes over, and I just kind of I kind of get into this mindset where this is all there is, and I think breaking out of that is a challenge.
Wonderful. Let's start from the beginning, right? Kae, you mentioned three challenges. Coordination between the hands and feet, right? Putting hands and feet together and making them play different things at different times. Yeah. That's I think 100% of people have, or 99% of organists have this challenge, because when they start to play piano first, they learn only two staves, right? Two stave notation, right hand and left hand. And then you start to put pedals together, and your left hand is no longer the bass line. It's the middle. And therefore the feet has to be in the bass most of the time. And that's the challenge. And sometimes the voices move independently, right? And the second challenge you mentioned was getting started. What do you mean by getting started? Just basically to sitting down on the organ bench and playing?
Yes, just
exactly.
Starting.
Because there is a saying that the most challenging thing for the writer, imagine a writer who writes novels, is to sit down at the table and start writing. Everything is basically easy, but you have to start, and starting is the most challenging thing for writers. I think for organists, the same thing. You just have to, make yourself sit down on the bench and do something at the bench. And then it gets easier and it's easier with time. So, Kae, and the third challenge you mentioned was not getting so stuck in week to week of preparations, right? And dreaming big, basically. What I understand from this is you're forced to do some church service work, right, every week, but you have bigger dreams, right, in your life as an organist, right? You want to accomplish more, and sometimes you forget this, right, because you're so busy preparing preludes, offertories, and postludes, and hymns, and other church service music, right? And you forget what's next after this 1 week, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's talk about all those things in order. Starting, how do you overcome or overcame recently this coordination between hands and feet, this splitting in your mind that those hands and feet have to do different things? What helped you to overcome this challenge?
I think the hardest part was believing that I could do it and believing that it was easier than I was, freaking out about it, and just getting over the mind blocks. I think because when the breakthrough that I mentioned from seeing my teacher Dainius Vaičekonis playing, like a pianist but still playing the organ and just going for it, and I just realized, a lot of it is just in my mind. Mm-hmm. And so I think just getting over the mind blocks and just going for it.
Mm-hmm. Very good, Kae, because if you don't believe that it's possible to overcome this challenge, you will not overcome, right? You sort of will get stuck because of this roadblock. But if you believe that it's something like a skill, you can master anything, right? And if you can, it's like a game. You can get better at this game, right? If you practice, then suddenly everything switches, and in your mind, it's only the matter of time when, and not if, right? When you will overcome it. Right. So, do you remember how did you became aware of this new mindset ability in yourself that it's possible. It's not that frustrating anymore, and I can practice, maybe push myself and overcome this.
It just I saw that and I thought I want that, and so I just kind of gave it a try, and I realized, I don't have to be pressing, writing out all the pedaling and everything. I just have to make the pedals make sound, and so. And at first I started, I think this is a thing. I was playing the hymns on the keyboard like I would with piano. So I was playing the bass in my left hand. And then I threw in bass pedaling with my feet. So I was actually doubling the bass, I guess. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of, I don't know, training my brain that it, kind of sneaking the pedals in, I guess.
I know what you mean, Kae. It's such an easy way out, right? For pianists,
right.
They play two voices in the right hand, two voices in the left hand. Well, I just add the bass line with the pedals. Additionally, with the right, you have basically four voices, but the pedals are doubling the left hand, right?
Right.
You did that.
Yeah, for a while, and then I started to try to challenge myself to, just play the tenor in the left hand and leave the bass in the feet, and that was a little bit more challenging, but I started to be able to do that, and
congratulations, by the way, Kae. I know some organists who play the organ every week at church, maybe every day almost, and they never ever force themselves to drop this initial habit of playing and doubling the bass line with the pedals and the left hand. But you did it because I know you want to persevere and you want to achieve big things in organ. And I know that you want to progress. And without true independence, it's never easy, right? You have to really switch in your mind. Now left hand only plays the tenor part, and the pedals will play the bass. It's not the only way to play hymns, right? There are many other distributions of voices that you can do, but doubling you could do doubling actually. In 17th century, organists and composer like Matthias Weckmann from the North Germany and Heinrich Scheidemann, for example, students of Svelling, right, from 17th century. You know how they played sometimes in 6-part, not in 4 parts, but in 6-part. Right hand played soprano and alto. Right. The left hand played second alto and the tenor, or depending on distribution, maybe 2 tenors. And then the bass line, the pedals played 2 basses. And sometimes instead of two separate basses, the left foot would play the bass line, the normal bass line, separate from hands, but the right foot would double your tenor, second tenor.
Oh.
Second tenor, in order to make it more prominent, because in that right foot and left hand combination, you will hear the tune, the cantus firmus, the melody, chorale melody, very, very prominently. It's not the bass, not the lowest voice, not the highest voice, but it's their trick to make it more prominent, to double with the right foot and the left hand. Imagine, it's different. It's very different from what you and I were talking a minute ago, right? So, but it's not for the beginners, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's more challenging. Yeah. Wonderful. So, Kae, so I'm so glad you finally became aware of possibilities, right? That you will not double the bass line with your left hand and start playing independently.
I'm still working on it, of course. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a process, but I've started.
You know what helps is to play real organ music too, on 3 staves, right? And everything is written out, and you will not, double the bass part with the left hand naturally this way, and you will get hands and feet coordinated and playing different things very fast this way. And then you switch to hymns again, and you say, 4 voices again, and now I can play only the tenor with my left hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, I'm so glad you finally found it out and started working on it. How much time do you think you will need to finally master coordination between hands and feet?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Several years.
I just see it as like a continuum of learning always. Mm-hmm.
There is no real mastery here. You just keep progressing, keep practicing, and keep getting better. And the minute you stop, it's actually the minute you degrade, you get worse and worse, right? You never stop.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's a good challenge to overcome, because later on it will pay off and you will feel like you are really an organist. You have a different set of skills than pianists. Actually, you will have 3 hands: right hand,
that's right,
left hand, and the pedals.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, Kae. What about the second challenge? Remember, you mentioned your second challenge was just to get starting with the practice, right? Just get back on the organ bench when it's so difficult. How did you overcome this challenge recently?
I'm not sure I've quite overcome it yet, but I've become aware of it, and I think that's half the battle, or at least a good first step. I guess probably better planning and time management, but it's really hard to want to limit my time with the piano. So I guess maybe just more time with music.
I know what you mean, Kae, because when you love piano music also, right? You love Beethoven and you love Chopin and other composers that you want to play on the piano. You have to divide in your mind the practice time too, right? You devote maybe an hour or 2 hours a day, for piano, and the equal time for the organ, right?
Yeah.
And that's a challenge for a lot of people. You have 2 passions now. You have basically 2 careers maybe, or 2 choices, and you want to develop them equally, right?
Mm-hmm.
One feeds of each other, each benefits from each other, right? Piano and organ, and you keep doing this. But as you say, you maybe make time in your schedule. You write down things when you will sit down on the bench, specific times in your week and day.
And also maybe specific things that I want to practice. And I know you like to improvise, and I found that for me, practicing improvisation on the organ can get really boring because it's just me, bringing, stuck in my own head, playing with my own ideas. But I find that when I have a scheduled organ performance like a prelude, and I just make something up on the spot, and I have there's more adrenaline involved, and I feel like I come up with better ideas on the spot. And it's
I know.
From playing piano and improvising on the piano, and for me, I think it's easier.
Mm-hmm. So I know what you mean, Kae. How many years have you been playing piano by now?
14. Yeah.
14. And how many years on the organ?
Maybe much less. Let's see.
Approximately.
Let's see. Maybe. No, it hasn't been that long. 7 years?
7 years. Half
7 years ago, I had my first lessons, I think. No, it
Wonderful.
Was it 7 years ago?
It's hard to remember, right? 7 years, it's a long time. Yeah, you can do a lot of things in 7 years if you do this right.
It doesn't feel like that long.
But it might be, right?
Maybe.
14 years with piano and 7 years with the organ.
Yeah.
That feels about right. So you see what's the problem here? What's the challenge and opportunity? It's really you have to be patient with yourself. Yeah. Imagine yourself or remember yourself when you were a pianist 7 years ago. Could you play the same thing like Beethoven's 2 sonatas and Chopin today? No, you probably not. You really are getting better and better each week, right? With the piano. So 14 years. So the same is with piano. Right now you can do half of as much with the organ, right? You can do half as much as probably at the piano. So imagine after 7 years, you will reach that point where you could do a lot of beautiful things on the organ too.
Yeah.
Does this sound inspiring or depressing to you?
Inspiring, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's hard for me to think that far ahead because I'm still very young and everything's right now.
Mm-hmm. I know, but 7 years is not like 25 years from now. It's very, it's doable. You can feel it around the corner, right? And because you did it with the piano 7 years, right? And now it's 14 years, and you can achieve the same thing with the organ. You just stick with this and get back on the organ bench every day, and you will I think, progress little by little. If you ever doubt yourself, Kae, if you ever feel that you're not progressing, do one test. For example, take a piece of organ music and try to sight read it. Okay, and note in your head how many mistakes do you make in one page. Okay, and then do something else. Practice church music, other preludes, improvisation, piano, anything, for 3 to 6 months. And after 3 to 6 months, come back to this page of new music and play it again. Okay, and you will see the difference very well then, if you are progressing or if you're not progressing, right?
Yeah,
because day to day it's very difficult to see your progress. But if you look at in your mirror after 3 to 6 months, you will start seeing the difference. I am 100% sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So Kae, that was the second idea, the second challenge that you have to constantly overcome every day just to get back to the organ bench and get started with organ practice. What about Kae, your third challenge, not getting so stuck in week to week of preparations and really dream big?
That was more of a recent realization. And I'm not sure I've solved it yet. But I finished school this spring, And I've been, trying to get my piano studio started, but it's starting slow because it's summer, and so I have a lot of time to myself, and I started to think about what my dreams are for the future and what I want, and I realized I had never really thought about that before, and I realized I kind of distract myself from thinking about it because there is other stuff to do, and I realized I don't really make time to think about where I'm going in the long run and what I want to be like, like you said, 7 years from now or 14 years from now. And so, maybe not make a plan and then, get disappointed when it doesn't go my way, but maybe just have some dreams that I would like.
Like a vision.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Vision, not necessarily step-by-step approach, right? You do this, you take this step, then you second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step, and you are on the top of the mountain now, and you can die. No, it's disappointing, right? You achieved everything, but it's disappointing. Maybe you keep your mind open for possibilities, but dream big. Maybe give yourself a challenge, right? A challenge that you have to overcome every week or every month. How about Kae 30-day challenge? Have you ever done anything like that? 30-day challenge?
I don't think I've ever actually tried one.
Mm-hmm. It could be done in any area in your life, like quit smoking or start smoking if you want, or or get better at running marathons, or whatever you feel, or learn foreign language in 30 days, a little bit, right? Learn 2,000 words, let's say, or
I'm studying Lithuanian right now.
Lithuanian?
Yes, I'm going
Wonderful.
Next year.
What word have you learned recently?
Ačiū.
Wonderful. Ačiū and labas. These are the most useful words in this language, because ačiū means thank you, right? You thank people. And labas means hello, right? You greet everyone this way.
Malonu.
Thanks. Malonu? Excellent. Malonu is nice. Kae, can I ask you this question? How did you become interested in Lithuanian language? I don't know very many foreign people who study this very odd and old language anymore. I know some, but not too many.
For sure. I guess it started with my teacher, who Dainius Vaičekonis, and he's Lithuanian, and he got me interested in Lithuanian composers. So
wait a second. Your teacher is Dainius Vaičekonis.
Yes. Do you know him?
I think I do. How old is he now?
I guess he's about your age. I don't know.
A little bit older, probably.
Probably.
I'm 41.
I don't know exactly how old he is, but I think he's a little bit older.
Older. I'm not sure, but this is a very interesting coincidence. My choral conducting teacher was Petras Vaičekonis. I assume his dad.
Yeah.
Dad, right?
Yeah.
Father. So say hello to Dainius, and that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Petras Vaičekonis. And Aušra was also studying with Petras Vaičekonis conducting at Lithuanian Academy of Music and Theater, maybe 12 years ago.
Wow.
But yes, Vaičekonis is and our teacher mentioned that he has a son who lives in America, and I think his name might have been Dainius. So I'm not 100% sure, but here is the connection.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Say hello to him.
Sure, yeah.
Excellent. How small is our world, right?
I know. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Wonderful. I have to ask Aušra too if she remembers exactly the name of the son, and maybe She has a better memory than me. So, so Dainius encouraged you to learn some Lithuanian, right?
Yeah. Actually, he performed Godowski in a faculty concert for my school, where he's head of keyboard studies, and I got interested in that music, and then he showed me some Churlones also, and I got interested in that, and so I was, for a long time it was just the composers, and then I heard him speak the language, and that was just, I don't know, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. And
Wow.
that was the moment I decided I'm going to learn this language.
Wonderful. You know how you can learn this language? Like any other language, in 30 days or even less. I will tell you a secret. There are, maybe like 20,000 or 50,000 words you really need to really master the language at the very deep level to be like a fluent native speaker. But you don't need that for conversations, for everyday conversations, let's say with your teacher, right? Or with me, right? Saying hello and things like that. Like we are not using very many, words. It seems that it only takes 2,000 words. So if you can really figure out the most common used words in Lithuanian language, which basically top 2,000 words, and I think you can find them online, and you can learn them, memorize them this way, and start using, even without knowing too much of grammar and rules, just this forcing yourself to use it. Does this sound like something you could achieve?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try that. I've been learning a lot of vocabulary from songs. Mm-hmm. I'm going with the local Lithuanian community choir to the Dainius Vaičekonis next year. But that just means like I'm learning all these, poetic words, and I don't have conversational skills.
I know. I know that's difficult. But Kae,
but I'm learning. So.
There is a method you could memorize the words very, very easily. Not cram. Cram is very difficult and very, well, cramming is maybe will stuck with you maybe for 2 days, and then you will forget. But there is another technique by association. For example, you say word thank you, right? Ačiū.
Yeah.
And ačiū means thank you in Lithuanian, but in English it sounds like something else, right? Like sneezing, right? Sneezing. So now it's easy. You memorized this word probably a long time ago. But imagine if you didn't know this word, ačiū, A-C-I-U, right? It's spelled this way. But imagine you imagine a person who is sneezing, and saying thank you at the same time. This image in your mind is the most crucial thing. And this image will come out whenever you want to say the word ačiū in Lithuanian.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing with other words like verbs and or nouns and things like that, by associating their meaning with something else in your native language, right? Do you know Japanese well?
No, I used to, apparently. That's what my parents tell me. But when we came to America, I mean, we were fully assimilated, I guess, and so I was born in Tokyo, and we moved here when I was 6, and we just kind of stopped speaking that much in Japanese.
So probably,
but I think I could pick it up faster if I went back. But I was never literate, and that's the hard part because there are 3 alphabets, and one of them has thousands of characters. And
I know what's your next 30-day challenge will be. Refreshing Japanese, right?
Japanese in 30 days.
Konnichiwa. Arigato. Good. Excellent. So Kae, I'm so glad we met, and you mentioned all those 3 challenges and dreaming big, right? What is your dream as an organist right now? What would you want to accomplish in 7 years or 5 years from now?
I guess this dream, is as an organist is also tied to a bigger dream. I really want to travel the world, and of course, I as a musician, I see an organ. I want to play every organ that I see. So I guess I'm hoping that learning organ will kind of give me a reason, and also maybe open doors for traveling and playing organs around the world. And I don't know if that's a very good goal, but it's a dream.
Fantastic. Travel the world while playing different organs, right? You know what we'll do? It will open up your musical horizons, and it will give you hands-on experience on multiple instruments. It's like driving hundreds of cars, right? Imagine you are a mechanic with thousands of cars under your belt, and you can, you know them intimately well, and you can adjust to any given car very fast. Like you can drive with your hands, with your eyes closed. Basically, you feel the car. The same is with organs. The more organs you play, basically, the better you adjust, and the better you become. Actually, wonderful dream, Kae. I'm so happy for you. Fascinated by your recent discoveries of Lithuanian connection with my former teacher. Say hello to Dainius. Wonderful. So thank you so much, Kae, and keep getting better. Keep overcoming those 3 challenges: hands and feet coordination, getting on the organ bench every day, and of course, dreaming big.
Yes, thank you very much.
Don't forget to say hello to Kae on Facebook, and visit her YouTube channel. I will add the links into the description of this conversation so that you will literally click and visit the links online. Thanks for listening. If you liked this conversation, I encourage you to visit my blog Secrets of Organ Playing at organduo.lt, where you will find lots of insights, practical advice, and training for every area of organ playing. You can subscribe to this blog for free to get your daily dose of inspiration and to be the first to know when any of my future podcasts roll out. I hope to help you reach your dreams in organ playing. I'm Vidas Pinkevičius. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you online really soon.